Good morning, everyone. It's Dr. J at 11. Yesterday, we talked about an open letter that I had written to Mickey Callaway, the Mets manager, to try to help him better manage his pitching rotation. I hope he reads it. I hope he listens because guess what? The Mets lost for a change. I think the score was 6-3. I wouldn't know for sure because I fell asleep when there was hope at 1-1. I sure as heck wasn't going to stay up to watch the hapless Mets at this point. So although I'm a big Met fan, I'm not that big a Met fan. Good morning. We're back. It's Dr. J at 11. Sorry for the little glitch. If you were with me earlier, we just had a little technical difficulty. And I think we are having some technical difficulties, which we're going to try to resolve. There's some difficulties with the voice and music glare going on right now in the background. So we'll try to resolve these in the future. But I was talking about the Mets. The hapless Mets lost again, 6-3 at Arizona in the desert. And I was watching, and with a little hope, it was 1-0 Mets, and it was 1-1 Mets, and then I kind of fell asleep. With a little hope that the Mets might actually win again. Well, they didn't. 6-3, another loss. Mark it up. Put it in the books, Howie Rose. Put it in the books. But as a loss. So the Mets are on some kind of record-breaking losing streak that's historic in proportion. Probably, just a setup for them to win 50 in a row and win the pennant. How's that? Optimism from a Mets fan. Okay. Um, I thought about what to focus on, and I'm going to focus on the eighth race at Belmont Park. The feature race is the most interesting race on the card as a rule, although today there's only six horses. But it's good to take a look at the program with me so you get an idea of how to analyze the race in case you're not too good at it or seldom do it or have never done it. So I'm gonna share screen with you guys now. And we'll pull that face up in a second. Okay, here it is. We'll blow it up a little bit. Okay, we'll do it up a bit too much probably. Take it one notch down. Oh, that might be good. All right, first of all, the first thing you should do is take a look at the conditions of the race. In this case, the race is run at a mile. You see that right on top. And it's six person 65,000. It's an allowance race, but you see the S in the box? That means the horse is bred in New York State. And horses bred in New York State is usually a little extra kicked in for the purse. So to encourage breeding in New York State, because we don't want Kentucky to have a monopoly on breeding, or Florida, or California. We want to be one of the big breeding states. It is actually a good industry. So the New York State Bred Registry kicks in a few bucks, the state bred races. I mean, these horses are very ordinary horses, as we'll see in a minute. Cheaper horses, in open company, more like 25 to $40,000 claimers, and they're running for purses 65,000. So that's pretty darn good. In open company, they'd be getting 25 to 40. So that's pretty damn good. So let's take a look at the first horse of six. The trainer. The trainer information is right here. And you see that Gary Jaka has 42 mounts that he that he ran this meet. Seven of them for winners. That's a pretty good percent of 17. Nice going, Gary. And He just came off a maiden 62K, good maiden race, the state breds. His horse won by 5.5 lengths, 5 1/4 lengths, says so right here. As you can see, 5 1/4 lengths. Manny Franco is a jockey. The date of the race, very important. May 13th, 2018. And ridden at Belmont Park, BEL. It even tells you which race it was, the fourth at Belmont. On the negative side, there were only 6 horses in the race, so he didn't have too much to beat. The times, the fractions, it was also in the mud. The fractions were pretty good, 46.2 at the half, 111 at 6 furlongs. That's quite good. The final time, they slowed it down a bit, which shows you that the competition just wasn't there. This horse basically had the lead all the way and was able to be unchallenged through the stretch. So although coming off a nice race, maybe it wasn't that nice a race. They paid a lot of money for this horse back in 2014, 105,000. The sire, 12,500. It's a young horse, a 4-year-old gelding, black gelding, tells you right up here. Excuse me, still having aftermath of a cough and cold. Let's go to the 2 horse, Fiery Opal. Fiery Opal is one of 3 speed horses. He's shipping in from Philadelphia, which is Parx, P-A-R-X, Parx Casino, where he's done most of his running. He also ran at Monmouth Park in a cheaper maiden race. In a maiden claimer at Parx, at 25,000, he busted his maiden by 15 lengths. And since then, in 25,000, 12,500, in cheaper races, basically, he's been competitive, and he even won his last 2. In fact, his last one was a very nice victory at 6.5 furlongs, an allowance race with conditions, dominated throughout as a comment. So this is a horse looking to stretch out back to the mile, speed sharpened. He will go to the lead. He also has a well-known jockey, renowned jockey, Javier Castellano, who is 18% for the meet. The trainer, however, is only over 8. Is he over 8? Oh, maybe he's overdue to win one. Go to the 3 horse. The 3 horse, although he's been running the mile, has not won since December 17, where he busted his maiden for a pretty good purse, 55,000 at the distance, and he led wire to wire. His running style is either wire to wire, gate to wire, or just off the pace in all of his races, whether they be in a mile and a teeny, mile and an eighth. So he's basically a horse who could sit a trip, probably be second or third, and will try to make his move through the stretch. The knock on him is he hasn't raced since April 21st. And the trainer, let's look at Mark Hennig's record for the meet. Mark Hennig is 2 for 26, and not the best. Jose Ortiz is hot as blazes. He's winning at a 1 out of 5 clip, 20% clip. That's the jockey over in the left-hand corner right here. And notice that he is the program favorite, 8 to 5. He will have to sit the trip, probably lay third or fourth, probably maybe even, yeah, third or fourth, and probably stalk the 2 front runners and try to make his move top of the stretch along with the 1 horse who we looked at before. So they'll be closing top of the stretch. The 4 horse, David Cohen, back up. No, not back up. A switch from Arroyo to Cohen. That's a nice jockey switch to the positive. Kimmel, the trainer, is over 15. He is a top trainer. who is doesn't get the mounts anymore. He's an older guy, a little bit on the older side. I don't know if he's my age, but he's getting there. And David Cohen is a very hot shot right now, heating up. Returned after a long injury. So he has good connections, all in all. And at mile last time, in similar conditions, he was placed forwardly and then died. On his good race, he stalked the pace and won basically by length and a quarter in a maiden claim of 40 back in January. January of 16, I'm sorry. So since returning to the races, March of 18, he's not exactly shown much. So this would be an outsider in the race, one that we don't particularly like, but anything is possible in horse racing. The 5 horse is Oscar Barrera trained. Oscar, unfortunately, is yet to really get going at the meet, so for 13. And he's using a jockey who has similar credentials, one for 26. Angel Arroyo has been known to bring in long shots. So is Oscar Barrera. And this is a long shot. He's been running on the good side with open company and being able to put out blistering numbers at blistering fractions of 22.2, 45, 109.2. These are very, very fast fractions. So in his last race, he was slicing fast for as long as he could go, and then he faded through the stretch at 6.5. A lot of horse players take a look at that and say, well, if he faded through the stretch at 6.5, how the heck is he going to win at a mile? Well, you notice he did win at a mile back February 4th of 18, when his only race that he won was won at a mile for 25,000 for 25,000. What was it? 25,000 claimer by 12 lengths. So yes, he can get the mile, and provided he's not pressed, it makes an easy lead, then he would have little trouble getting the mile. Problem is, remember that 2 horse we looked at, another sprinter? So it looks to me like that 2 horse must go to the lead as well. So yeah, there's going to be a speed duel up front. So I don't know if the 5 is the best of bets. Has a shot because you never know once you're on the lead what's going to happen. 6 horse. Billy Mott is a renowned trainer. He had Hofburg in Belmont. He didn't quite make it. Nobody could beat that Justified. Justified is a super horse. And anyway, talking about this particular one, paid 65,000 his connections in 2016. That's pretty good. A lot of money for this 3-year-old colt. In a similar company to this, he was third by 10 in May. And in April, after a layoff, was in the Lexington Stakes, where he was somewhat prominent early and then died to last. So this horse is class. Billy Mott is a class trainer. He only has good horses. That's why he's a well-deserved 5-2. He doesn't need the lead. He's one of these horses like the one that will stalk the pace and run at the end. In fact, this horse figures, in my mind, to be running 5th or 6th early, and we'll have to make a move around everybody to win the race. And that's certainly possible with Junior Alvarado up. Junior's having a good meet, 12%. Billy Mott's having a so-so meet for Billy Mott, which is 10%. All right, so that's the race in a nutshell. Let's review it a little bit, see if we can come up with horses to eliminate. So going back, take another look. The one knock against him is his finishing time wasn't so good. He raced his race in the mud where he broke his maiden. A plus would be the time before where he was second by 1 in a mile. Very good time. So the one is not a bad looking animal here. Gary Chalk is a hot trainer. Manny Franco is a hot jockey. So yeah, I mean the kind of the Team Chaka is doing well this meet, and you might want to just play the hot hand. He is definitely a consideration at 6 to 1 from the rail. Let's see if what the comments are. Maiden win, one last thing. These comments are sometimes helpful. Moves up in class. I don't consider that to be really true because again in maidens it's automatic comment. For speed figures, we talked about that. Best speed ratings, whatever. Good post position one has 4 wins. Post position one has 4 wins. That doesn't bother me. Let's look at number two. Number two is that Speedball, who looks like he's going to get cooked with the hooking up with Oscar's horse. So I would throw him out. Number three, the favorite. I would probably throw him out because he's a favorite and offers little value. I know you hear guys like Andy Sirloin and other handicappers talk about value, and that is an important consideration. Does the horse offer value at 8 to 5? And I think he will be 8 to 5 or maybe even shorter. And Mark Hennig is a cold, doesn't have exactly a hot hand. So I would probably pass on the favorite and look for something juicier, like the one. The four, we had two races back. They were both horrible. It's hard to go to him. I mean, anything is possible in horse racing. The five, Oscar's horse, would look good to me if the two weren't in the race, but you have to worry about that two cooking him. And the connections haven't been exactly on fire. So I would probably pass on this horse, although it tempts me. I would probably pass. And the six is the other consideration in the race. The question is, does he improve off his last race? Um, you could take a shot with the six, but at 5 to 2, at least you're getting a little bit of value. So the value plays look to me like the one and the six. Probably the six is a safer bet on the win end because he's won. And he's won, well, at least I don't mean that they both won. But this one won 3 back, breaking his maiden. The other one just broke his maiden. So he's got a few more races against winners under his belt. I think that means something. Billy Mott, Junior Alvarado, good connection. I don't know. It's a tough race. I mean, it's probably a race that I would ordinarily pass on, but if forced to play, I would probably play the six or the one, or maybe a combination involving the six and the one in the exactors. So let me go back to the live feed, get out of screen sharing. Um, Stop screen sharing. Okay, so we're back with glare and all. Probably my audio has not been too good either lately. I have to figure out what's wrong. But I hope you've enjoyed this edition of Dr. J at 11. We look forward to seeing you again next week, where I promise to have some special guests. Who they are, I don't know yet because I haven't found them. People are a little camera shy. I find that you don't need superstars to appear as guests. You just need people that are experts in their fields, and they make for interesting guests. So, ordinary people, ordinary show. This is Dr. J. Until next week. Bye all. Have a great weekend.